G'day, Aussie Bonsai Bloke here, how you going? Today, doing a bit of carving on this olive. As you can see, already done a bit of carving on it. So I'm going to do some more carving on it. Finish all the carving on the trunk, wire out the branches, and do a little bit more detailed carving when I'm finished. And also, I've got a bit of a different thing I'm going to do today as well. I'm going to do a bit of a, not really a review, but the problems that you face with, I'm not sure, all of the die grinders, but certainly the Makita die grinder has failed me. I'll show you what's going on with it, if I can. So what's going on here is you have, that's the motor part, that part's fine. Okay, then you have this coupling. Then you have this coupling which goes in here. There's another rubber coupling in there that goes in there, but that's fine. But anyway, this coupling here, which basically engages the motor to the shaft, has this little bolt on it, and this little bolt shears off. I have given the Makita a bit of a hard time, so I suppose over time it can happen, but I feel like if you got a 6mm shaft, which is what these are, you shouldn't have a 4mm bolt in there, because that's obviously going to be a weak point. So what's happened is that 4mm bolt has sheared off in there, just because it's too weak. So I'm not sure what to do. I know I'm going to try and drill it out and get the bolt out. You can get replacement parts from Makita. They're not overly expensive, probably under $10 delivered. So yeah, not too happy about that. Makita's got a bit of a weak point there, I think. Otherwise it was going pretty good for me. But anyway, so I'll see if I can sort that out. In the meantime, I had to keep carving away. So I found this tool here from Bunnings. It's an air tool, die grinder. I'm going to give it a go, see how it goes. It was only literally $14.90 or 15 bucks. It's quite heavy in the hand too, so I'm going to see how it goes. I did just spin it for a bit and it seems to have a fair bit of grunt and go okay. The only thing I will say is if you're using an air tool like that, it needs a lot of airflow, so you'll need a fairly good air compressor to run something like that. I've got a reasonable air compressor, so I should be okay to run it. I'll just show you the air compressor so you can see what I'm talking about. You probably need something at least that big, with a double piston, your belt drive, your big motor, all your different pressure gauges and stuff. Even cheap ones have that, but yeah. So it's a fairly big one, and that's good for it. I'll show you what, and also too, it'll have a lot less chance of overheating. If you were to grab something like this one over here, this is my little baby one that I take out, pump up the car tyres and stuff. You were to use something like this, you'd probably end up overheating it. It gets pretty hot just pumping up a few car tyres, so wouldn't like to run that for too long. But anyway, so yeah, anyway, I'll try and sort out that Makita bit anyway and give that the Aussie air tool a go. Get into the carving of this tree. As you can see, I've done a little bit, nothing too drastic, no worries. Go, let's try and drill it out. Okay, so I've drilled inside the bolt that snapped off, and now this is an easy out. So it's got a reverse thread, it should grip it, I hope. That's the plan. So to start with, I'm just going to try and reverse spin it out. And if that doesn't work, I might have to get the drill on it and put a bit more downward pressure on it. Okay, here we are. Get the drill out on it, because I couldn't get it with my fingers or with that shifter, so I'll get the drill on it. And all you do is you put a lot of pressure down on it, and then just slowly wind your drill. I think you can see it coming just there, it's a bit dark. Might be out. Beauty. Alright, so we got it out, which means instead of spending about $30 to fix it, it's now only going to cost about $10, but still, shouldn't happen in the first place. You pay good money for these products, and then they do something like that, put this cheap little part in, only a 4mm shaft when you're running with 6mm bits, and then you wonder why that snaps first. I'll just show you it with the other bit. Okay, so that bit goes onto there. Right, now the only thing that makes it drive is this connected to that. Just see if I can get it to focus. And it looks like what's happened is that's just sheared off because it's too inferior for the strength of the motor and for the 6mm bits that you put in, because it's only a 4mm shaft. And that's the result. Snapped off. So I'll have to get another one. Like I say, they're pretty cheap, but it's still a bit of an inconvenience. And for some people, it can be quite difficult too to muck around fixing those sorts of things. It'll be just a throwaway job for them. I'll just show you what else the Aussie Die came with. Yeah, pretty happy. Came in the box. I'm not going to use a lot of this stuff, but it came obviously with your spanners you need. But it came with a few stones and stuff which you can use for other things. Also on metal, they're okay for metal. Another thing that I think is pretty cool too, it came with a 3mm shaft, so you can run it on all your Dremel bits as well. All your Dremel bits can run on here. So for $15 to get all that, and that feels quite solid too. It's pretty good. You got to put a bit of air tool oil in these things every time you use them. Just put it in the air hose there, and it just lubricates it while you use it, and you get a lot longer life out of them. Anyway, that's it. I'll get into doing the bonsai now. Cheers. Okay, so I've got it all ready to go. Just going to see how she goes. Give her a bit of a rev up. As you can see, she revs pretty hard. Pretty noisy. Bit noisier than an electric one, but electric one's still pretty noisy, and obviously the air compressor is going to kick in, so it's going to get pretty noisy in a sec, but let's just see how she goes. And obviously too with these, because you've got the air control, it is like a speed control. So you can run at really low speed or really fast. Alright, I'll do a little bit here and see what happens. welcome back. Well, I had a few issues, not too bad though. I broke a few drill bits, because when I hollow out the inside, a lot of your router bits and stuff can't get in deep enough, so I use drill bits and sort of wiggle them around, and I snapped a drill bit. Another thing, when you use drill bits in there, it's very easy to get extremely visible tool marks as far as drill holes through it. So when you do it, you've got to drill a few next to each other and try and cross them together to create different shapes and things in there. There are a few marks in there still that you can tell without tool marks. I'm going to go along with I've done all the bulk work, got rid of most of the bulk wood now. As you can see, it's a different day. You know, with bonsai, should never be about trying to get it finished. I probably could have rushed it yesterday, got it finished, but should never be about getting it finished. It should be about, you know, doing the best you can for that tree, to whatever skill levels you're at. So if your skill levels are down, just do as best you can for your skill levels, and maybe tackle something a bit smaller than this one. This one here I've probably spent close to 8 hours on now, and I'm going to guess probably be another 3 to 4 hours left at least. And then I'm not going to treat this one, and I may even come back a year later and put more marks, get rid of some more tool marks that I find. I've tried to hollow out the whole inside of the base because I want it to be quite hollow. You can see light getting through there a little bit. I'll try and show you that a bit later. But there's still a fair bit of bulk wood in there because I just can't get in there to get it out. So what I'll do is I'm not going to treat any of it, and over the next year or two, the inside, because it'll be wet and won't be able to dry out, will probably rot out a bit, which will create some more interest in the wood, as well as getting rid of some of that bulk in there. It should just flake out. Should be able to get it out then. So yeah, so now after I've done the bulk work, got rid of most of the wood that I want to get rid of, the next thing I've got to do is get the Dremel out, and, well, not Dremel, Zito. I've got to get that out and put a different bit in. So I'll show you that bit. In the meantime, I took my dog for a walk with the motorbike, so I'll show you that. Cheers. Yeah. Just out taking the dog for a bit of a walk on the motorbike. Like the motorbike. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention, you've seen my dog go for a walk. One thing I did forget to mention is that this Dremel bit works really well. No. You idiot, Sam. Not this Dremel bit, this router bit in the air. This router bit in the air-driven die grinder works really well, but because it uses a lot of airflow, my air compressor can't even keep up, even though I've got a fairly good one. It still can't keep up and you've got to keep having little rest breaks, waiting for the air pressure to come back so you've got enough pressure. But it works good with full pressure. If you had an even bigger air compressor or 2 air compressors hooked up together to allow more airflow, that would probably work alright. But I will be going back to the electric one. I just got to get it fixed. And that's about it. No worries, cheers. Okay, so I got my tool in. Basically it's just got some grooves on a fairly skinny sort of bit of metal there. Another thing that you can use is the angle grinding discs that come with the little multi-tool. Yeah, so I'll show you what I do. Basically, all I do, turn it on. So you can see these tool marks in here. So I'll turn it on, I'll put some grooves in and make it look a little bit more natural, I hope. So I'll just do a few for you. Do a little bit just to show you. Okay, so that's just a quick little demo. You can see now, I still got to get in there, but I've got to use a different bit to get in there. But you can see, I'll just show you the difference between this piece now and a piece that I haven't done. Okay, so that's done, pretty well done. You can see that it's almost a little bit like the white ants have gone up and down it. And then a piece that's not done, all these tool marks quite plain. So there's a contrast there between one done, one not. If you had other tools and you're a bit more of an expert than me, I'm only sort of learning as well. You could make some more detailed stuff in there to make it look like some real natural deadwood, but for now I'm going to go with the sort of white ant sort of trenches, I suppose you could call it. And I think that'll give it a pretty good look, and that'll weather in time as well and create its own little interest. So anyway, I'll do that over the tree and I'll get back to you when I'm done. Cheers. Well, g'day. I've done the hard carving. Now I've done pretty well all the detailed carving. It's taken a lot of hours. I've had a lot of trouble on the inside of the trunk because I can't quite get to all of the drill holes that I put in there to neaten them up to make it look more natural. So you can see that there's been some drill holes in there, but I'm hoping that with all the water and moisture in there it'll rot out and hopefully drop away anyway. If not, I can attack it a bit later. Also, I couldn't put the detail into the bottom of the trunk because the bottom of the trunk's soft because it was alive, whereas the top of the trunk was already dead. So I was able to put a little bit more detail into that because the wood was already hard. What else to say? Oh, as you notice, got different clothes on again. I'm not joking, this is the third day at it. I mean, I've had interruptions, had to water me forest around the house. Went to a party last night. So I've had a lot of different things on, but even still I've put in a solid 5 to 6 hours a day, and probably another 4 hours today already. So without a word of a lie, this has taken a good 14 hours to carve out. And that doesn't even include taping up all these branches to get them out of the way so that I could carve it. That took about an hour on its own. But yeah, pretty happy with its outcome on the carving. It makes me look back at some of the other carving I've done on the other trees, and I want to bring it back in and give them a bit more carving. A bit embarrassed about how they look, but I mean, even this one here's got a long way to go. I'm still learning how to put the detail and stuff in, and I think, you know, getting into this one, I think the detail is where the real magic happens with carving and trying to make it look more natural. But anyway, that's alright. So now I'm going to style the tree. Not quite sure what sort of look I'm going to go for. I think where you're looking at is going to be somewhere near the front. I'm not sure. And I think I'm going to go sort of as natural as I can, and maybe have multi-apex type thing, because there's, you know, like there's a circle around this outside of this stump, which is all at similar heights. The strength of the growth is similar all the way around the tree. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go up and then branch out and have just, you know, sort of pads around the place, or different canopies I should say, not really straight pads, but canopies where you have the branches going into the canopy. I'll probably have that all around the place. There's a branch at the front here, which I might push out to the side a bit, but then there's another one here right at the front. I have marked it a bit with the carver, but it'll reshoot. But the thing is, I think I want to keep this. I mean, it'll look a bit funny having a pad at the front, or a canopy, little canopy at the front, but it's got a really nice, interesting live vein on it, so I might want to keep that. And the thing is, if I turn it a bit that way and then push it out to the side, I mean, I could do that. I'll see how I go. But then if I turn it back the other way to keep that interesting live vein out to the side, you could do that. But then you start to see this more boring side of the trunk over here. So anyway, I'll have to nut that out as I style it. So I'll take off all the tape and then get to styling it. I may even just take off one tape at a time, style that branch, wire it, which keeps all the other branches out of the way, and then go to the next one. That might end up easier actually. So yeah, the tape was just to keep the branches out of the way so I didn't cut all the branches. Although it looks like I've got a lot of branches here to work with, which I sort of do, but a lot of them are coming all from the same location at the start of the trunk. So they'll have to all be cut back to one. So there won't actually be a lot of ramification on this. In quite a few cases it'll just be a single branch coming out, and I'll have to wait till next year for it to ramify. So there's not going to be no massive transformation of this tree apart from the hollowing out of the stump. You didn't get to see it, but at the start of the video I'd already done a couple of hours on this tree, so that makes it nearly 17-hour tree so far. I'd already done a couple of hours, but originally this was just a solid stump all the way down, cut down from a big tree. The top had died off, so I cut it down flat here, and I've created all this deadwood around it. I wanted this one to look like the end of where it snapped off, with no real taper on either side, just the top where it's rotted back into itself and then hollowed out. So I don't know, a bit of a different design for me, this one, but hopefully it works out alright. So I'll get into doing that. Cheers. Oh, one last thing. To finish off the detailed work, I use this little Ozito, and there's this tiny little, I guess, an engraver bit, and I use that to get to the places that I couldn't get to with the almost like a grinder bit. So it worked okay. It left a few furry edges compared to the grinding bit, and it didn't burn, so it didn't leave that nice sort of burnt look to it. But anyway, right, I'll get to styling it. Enough yabbering on. Cheers. G'day, welcome back. I've spent probably nearly 17 hours now. It's near the end of the third day, and I'm pretty well finished for now, so that's pretty happy to be finished after all those hours on the tree for the last 3 days. But like I said before, don't rush it, you know. It's not about getting it finished, it's about doing as good a job as you can do on that tree. So it's pretty crazy sort of a style of a tree, because a lot of the branches are all at the same level because the top died off, and then I cut it with a chainsaw and carved it out. But I will create sort of like an apex over this side and bring it forward a bit. I've chosen that as the front of the tree. You can see the wire marking pretty well the front. So I'm going to bring the apex forward a bit, have like a secondary apex over here, and then just some branching and a little bit more definition in between the branching, but have it more like little canopies rather than pads, if you know what I mean. And also what I want to say too is, on a tree like this, I don't mind having a lot of these sucker shoots down the bottom to create some of the branch structure and padding, because in reality, if you lost the top of a tree, especially an olive, they're going to shoot out a lot of shoots at the bottom, and they'll look similar to that, you know, like with all the shoots and branching at the bottom. So that doesn't bother me at all. I'm happy to use them. Without them, the tree would look quite bare, to be honest. I like having low branches. But each to your own, you know. If you don't like low branches, you know, cut them off. Just have some at the top, you know, start that far up. As far as left, right, back branches, well, I don't really care, because a tree like this, how are you going to know where they will come from anyway? Like, and your eye's not going to really care about where. It's just going to sort of all blend in, especially with the base this fat. The base is fatter if I had the front that way, but all the branches are in front of you then, so I'm not going to do that. There is one branch in front of you with the front I've chosen here, and this one slightly. But I'm going to keep those branch structures fairly light so that you can see through them. I won't let it get very high so that you can see the top. Yeah, like I said, bring this canopy over the top here a bit, but still make the deadwood quite visible. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm pretty happy with it. Been a long few days, about 6 hours Yeah, probably 6 hours a day, nearly 18 hours. But yeah, pretty happy. It was good fun actually, quite relaxing. Had a few breaks in between. So yeah, I'll give you a spin of the tree. I'll stop yabbering on, give you a spin of the tree. I'm not going to treat the deadwood for now. I'm just going to let it, you know, get a bit wet, sort of half soften up and rotten out a bit. Maybe the bottom of the tree I might carve in the future a bit more, get some more detail into it, but it's too wet and soft because it was low of wood at the bottom. But I put holes in it anyway, just to create some more interest. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, it's a pretty powerful looking tree. The pot for this probably cost a good couple $100, so you won't be seeing it in a pot anytime soon. The spin of the tree will probably look a bit weird because I can't, unless I cut the lip of the pot down, or the tub, can't really show you the base properly, but if I was to do that then you can't carry it. These things crack anyway once you've lost the top rim, so for now I'm going to leave it. I'll probably leave it, I reckon it's been in this pot for just over a year, so I'll probably leave it in this pot for another year or two and just develop the top on it. So yeah, pretty happy. Long way to go on the tree. It's by no means getting even close to being finished. It's probably another 10 years to be honest. But you know, that's how you start out with a stump, and you've got, you know, quite an impressive tree in 5 to 10 years. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just carve it out and lay a few branches out and wait for it to ramify. No worries. Thanks for watching Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Please like, share, subscribe. I'll give you a bit of a spin on the way out. No worries. Have a good one. Cheers. Bloody beauty. No worries. Thanks.